Howdy y'all! Thank you for joining us today for this unboxing of Marvel Champions the card game, the Hero Pack. This one is for Gambit. What these are, a Hero Pack is basically an expansion that adds into the game. So what it's nice about it is if somebody has a base game and you do not own any of this game but you want to play with them and you like this character, you can just go grab that Hero Pack of the character you like and it's going to give you a full deck that you're ready to play straight out of the box. Of course, you're going to want to make improvements most likely, but that's what's kind of cool about this. So we're going to see this. This is the new one that just came out along with Rogue. It says right there it's a 60 card hero pack that includes a pre-built Gambit deck like we were talking about. It is going to have new cards in there, and we'll talk about all the new cards that I recognize. And then a new modular set. A modular set's just an extra bad guy encounter that you can mix into the main villain to where it's basically just something that's going to be harder for them to pull off. Or basically, they're going to be interfering with what's going on. So it's going to be harder for you to stop them. And then it shows that his nemesis is Belladonna, which makes sense. Alright. We're going to go, without much ado, we're going to get right into this. I'm expecting... If you're new to the game, you know there's 4 aspects. There's aggression, justice, leadership, and protection. I'm going to predict that this is going to be justice just because we just had Wolverine with aggression and Storm with leadership, and then Rogue was protection. So I'm going to say justice, and if it's not justice, plus it makes sense because of his roguey nature. I guess I'm going to be opening this up while we talk about this. Because of his roguey nature, I just assume it's going to be justice, and they're going with he's going to be thwarting the scheme. If not, I can see him as aggression because of his kinetic ability. But anyways, so I waited just to open this up to talk about, hey, there's a sticker here. It will let you know, I've already pre-cut it, but it'll let you know if that's popped or open. You might want to check to make sure your product isn't tampered with. But if not, all you're going to do is you're going to open this. It's going to have a pack of cards in it, which is going to be your deck and the extra cards, along with a rules insert underneath that flap there. And then as far as this rules insert, we're going to see here, and I'm trying to keep it hidden so we can just reveal at the same time. But so what you're going to see here is going to be a little mini poster, and the mini poster is going to be the same thing of whatever's on this. You just get the little mini poster of it. And yep, we can already see here he is a justice deck. Kind of like I kind of figured. Sometimes they'll do like a double aggression, but since we hadn't seen a justice deck, since it's the next in the rotation, I kind of figured it was going to happen. But on the back of this is going to be the new rules you need along with the credits. It's going to have any rules you may need just in case you don't have any expansions, or like I said, you're just jumping in and you're playing with somebody who only has the base set. These are some of the extra rules you're probably going to need. And then it lets us know kind of what his deck's about and what it is. It's justice. Alright, sorry about that. It took a little bit longer to open than I expected. Alright. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about the hero card here, the character, your main identity, Gambit. He is a 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. And as you can see, hero side, charge the card. I'm going to try... I know this is going to be one of those decks just kind of like Spider-Ham and whatnot, where you just want to say the silly stuff. So I'm sure all of his cards are going to be named trying to talk Cajun. But charge the card here. Action, place 1 charge counter here. Limit once per round. Okay. And then throw the card. Interrupt. When you play an attack event, remove up to 3 charge counters from here. That event deals +1 damage for each counter removed. So we just got to do some extra damage. Seems pretty good. Can add it to the events. And then we see Remy LeBeau here. 3 recovery. His alter ego, Thief Extraordinaire. As an action thwart, exhaust Remy LeBeau and look at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. Discard one of those cards. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the number of boost icons on that card. This is rather interesting. I can't remember, and I could be wrong. I've pretty much played everybody, but to say that I've played everybody recently would be ridiculous. But this is kind of interesting because while in your alter ego form, you're able to basically thwart while you're in alter ego form, which makes sense. It's his thief, his rogue nature. So that's pretty cool. It's interesting. All right, so the next cards we're going to see here in this pack are going to be, it's usually 15 unless there's something special. This one does say 1 of 15. So these are going to be the cards that if you're playing Gambit, then no matter what, these 15 cards have to be in your deck. Then you just choose the aspect, like I mentioned, one of those 4 aspects, and build your deck, along with some basics, and we'll get to those later. But usually the first one, and everybody always has, I want to say there was 1 or 2 that didn't, but usually everybody has an ally that is one of their unique cards, and in this case, that's exactly what we have. We have Rogue here. Anna Marie, 4 costs, 3 hit points, 2 thwart, 2 attack. Reduce the cost to play Rogue by 1 for each charge counter on your identity. So if you built up some charge counters and hadn't used them yet because you're waiting for that final blow, then you draw Rogue, she's going to be easier to come out. And a toughness. Seems pretty good. Then we have a support card here, the Thieves Guild, 1 cost. This is alter ego card. Most people have something they could do in their alter ego form. As far as card wise, this one is his support. After you resolve your Thief Extraordinaire, which was that one where it lets you get rid of scheme, or threat off the scheme. Once you resolve that ability, exhaust the Thieves Guild, remove 1 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, draw 1 card. Okay. Gambit's Staff, 1 cost upgrade, Hero Interrupt. When an enemy attacks, exhaust Gambit's Staff, deal 1 damage to that enemy. So kind of like Retaliate, except there are like ranged people and stuff that could ignore that Retaliate. So this makes this where he basically still gets to do the damage. Gambit's Guild Armor, 1 cost upgrade, Hero Response. After Gambit defends against an attack and takes no damage, exhaust Gambit's Guild Armor to ready Gambit. Okay. That makes me want to kind of build on protection, just so that you don't... But, I mean, he does have a high... He has a 3 defense, so, I mean, the odds that he can pull that off can happen. Charged card, 2 cost event, hero action, attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy for this attack. If Gambit's throw to card ability removed at least 1 counter, this attack gains ranged. 2 counters, this attack also gains piercing. 3 counters, this attack also gains overkill. So you just go hard on something, and we get 2, 3 of those. We have the Royal Flush here, 3 cost event, hero action attack, place 1 charge counter on Gambit, deals 0 damage to an enemy, deals 0 damage to an enemy, deals 0 damage to an enemy. Make sure I read that right. I'm assuming he's going to have something that's just going to... Well, I mean, you can use your charge. Oh, duh. Because if you remember, on his throw to card ability, after playing an attack event, this is an attack event, you can remove counters, and that event deals +1 damage for each counter removed. So I'm assuming if you remove 3 counters, this could be a lot of damage, because it's going to be +3 damage, +3 damage, +2 damage. Or you remove 2 counters, +2 damage. So 3 to 6 damage. Of course, you're wanting to, if you're paying 3, you're going to want to do 6 to 9. But, alright. At first I was like, maybe this triggers other stuff. And I mean, I guess that could be another way of looking at it too. But we get 2 of those. Natural Agility, 0 cost event, Hero Interrupt. Defense, when you defend against an attack, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. For each charge counter on Gambit, you get +1 defense for that attack. Seems pretty good. 0 cost event that's going to just let you charge up to be able to go back at them. And plus, if you're building up for a big one, it's going to let you just defend. Creole Charmer, 2 cost event, alter ego action, thwart. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, confuse the villain. Pretty cool. And then we have a resource with him, We see those every so often now with characters, but it's a molecular acceleration resource. Hero Interrupt. When you spin this card, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. So it's a 2 that's also going to charge up Gambit. Seems pretty good, and there's 2 of those. Alright. Oh, kind of happy. See one of my favorite characters here. Alright, so that's the 15 cards that come with Gambit. Next, we're going to see the Justice cards. And usually, with the Justice cards, or with the whatever aspect it is in these hero packs, we usually see a new ally that is new to the game. And here, in this case, we see, or not that character new to the game, but that ally is new to the game. And in this case, we have Bishop, which makes sense if you know the storyline. So Bishop, 3 cost to bring him out, 3 hit points, 2 thwart, 0 attack. Yeah, he's 2 consequence stars on his attack, but he's got something special about his attack. So let's see what that's all about. Response: after an enemy attacks you, place 1 energy counter here. Okay. So he's going to be building up energy, which so Bishop does. I'm assuming he's going to go off with it now, which is Interrupt. When Bishop attacks, remove each energy counter from him. For each counter discarded this way, he gets +2 attack for this attack to a maximum of +6 attack. So basically, you just keep him out there long enough, maybe using the thwart, but you keep him out there while you're being attacked and defending, and then just go off on 1 big attack. So, seems pretty good. We have another new ally here for Justice. Dazzler, 4 cost, 3 hit points, 2 thwart, 2 attack. As a response, after Dazzler enters play, confuse an enemy. Okay, so you bring this out, go into your alter ego form. They're not going to be able to scheme. Alright, we have a 2 cost upgrade here, operative skill. Uses means you're going to put 3 counters on there. It says 3 operative counters go on there. And I mean, uses means that when the counters are gone, this goes away. Max 1 per player. Interrupt. When you thwart, remove 1 operative counter from here. That thwart removes 1 additional threat. So you're basically paying 2 for 3 removal. Alright. We got Stealth Strike here. 3 cost event. Hero action attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If that enemy is defeated by this attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. So it'll give you a little bit of attack there. 2 cost event. Breaking and entering. Thwart. Play only if your identity has the spy or thief trait. So I'm thinking of Black Widow at the moment. Action thwart. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. So 2 for 3 again. And we've already seen this one, but we'll just go over it briefly. This is another resource card. There's only a max 2 per deck. Interrupt. When you spin this card to play a thwart event, that event removes 1 additional threat. So use it on that. It means 2 to 4. This kind of, I think it's say disappointing, but it's there. It's only disappointing because typically now we're in the basics. What basics are is basics are cards that can go into any deck. No matter what aspect you are. As long as you meet other requirements. The thing is, we've already seen this card. This card was in the Mutant Genesis box. But we got Professor X here. Basically, just another form of the Nick Fury card where it's got some versatility, versatile use on when you bring him out, you get to choose what to do with him. So, same here. We've seen this card before, the X Mansion. So I'm not going to go over it. It's in the Mutant Genesis box also. And we've seen this card. Sorry, I took that off camera, but we've seen this card. This is in the Rogue deck. So if you want to see my Rogue opening, we talk about that a little bit, but not really much more. I mean, it's pretty simple. You have to have Rogue, whether it be the ally or someone else playing Rogue, out and play in order to play this. But if you do, then you get to deal 4 damage and 4 threat from a scheme. So seems pretty good. We got Hit and Run here. 3 cost event. Hero action, attack, and thwart. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. So there's another card like this. Actually, yeah, I'm thinking of putting this. I think that one's called Hit and Run also. So I think it's just an alternate art. I'm about to say, because I was thinking of my Gamora deck. Pretty sure there's already a Hit and Run out there. If it's not, if it's a different card, that'd be awesome. But I'm pretty sure it's the same card. But seems pretty good, especially with Gamora, because she could trigger both of those. 3 of those. But like I said, I think they already have it. I think it's just an alternate art. Alright. Here we got Mutant Education. 0 cost event. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait. Alter Ego Action. Choose up to 2 identity-specific cards in your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. If X Mansion is in play, draw a card. So this is a way of getting arguably your 15 cards you have to have in your deck are kind of the best cards in the deck, which is why you're kind of bogging it down with other stuff. So you're hoping to be able to put the stuff in there in your deck that's going to basically help you to facilitate either getting those cards back or just making those cards extra good or better or whatever. So supporting those cards basically. So you got your Mutant Education, which is going to let you get those back, but that can only be used by mutants. And then I'm sure this all 3. This is kind of staples in almost every deck in my opinion, unless you just have really low cost on all your stuff. But we just saw the alternate arts here with Mutant Genesis, where it's the energy, genius, and strength. And if you're new, all these are their resources that are worth 2 resources. Alright, so that's everything you're going to need for your deck if you're going to play. As far as like you would just put your character into play, you would shuffle up your deck, and it's ready to go playing. And you can see how it goes. And if you like it, add to it or whatever, but this is where you could just join in with somebody if you wanted to. The next cards you still have to have in order to play Gambit, but the next one's going to be his obligation. So what the obligation is, you have to hand it to the person who's, at the beginning of the game, you hand that obligation to the person that is making the encounter villain deck, and they're basically going to shuffle that in. And what that is, when an encounter happens, it's going to force you to have to deal with this obligation because it's your obligation that you have to deal with. And it even tells you that right here. It says, give to Remy LeBeau player. As an alter ego action, exhaust Remy LeBeau and spend a energy resource is what that is. Remove guild business from the game. So you're basically going to have this there where, and what this is, it's saying you're going to have to take an extra encounter every turn until you go to alter ego action, or go to alter ego form as an action, you exhaust him, spend that resource to get rid of this. Basically, you have to go off to the side and go deal with guild business. Then the next cards, and even let you know there's 5 of them there. The next cards are going to go off to the side. You still have to have these also for playing Gambit. But these will only come into play if a certain card tells you to. That card I know of, or the cards I've seen, are Shadows of the Past is going to bring this villain into, or this minion, this Nemesis minion into play. I also seen a card in Mysterio's deck that does it too. But yeah, so this is something that will come in, like, while you're trying to deal with it. It's going to be something that you're going to have to deal with as it's going on. For instance, we're going to, after this video's done, I'm going to sleeve this up, and I'm going to play this deck against Sabretooth and the Brotherhood, and see how it fares unchanged. I'm not going to mess with the deck at all in any way. And while Sabretooth is trying to hunt down Senator Kelly and take down Senator Kelly, if Shadows of the Past comes out, Belladonna will come out, and I'll have to deal with her also. That's a lot, but it's just for the new players who are kind of looking at this and seeing if they want to play. But here we go. We got Belladonna here, minion, 2 scheme, 3 attack, 5 hit points is how many she has. And she has something special on her attack. She has Quick Strike, which means when she comes out, she gets to activate immediately, or attack immediately, not activate, sorry. Attack immediately if you're in hero form. Toughness, which means she's going to get a toughness card on her, which says that the next time she would take damage, she removes that card instead. So one time she doesn't take damage. And then she has the forced response for her attack, which is, after Belladonna attacks and defeats a character, place 2 threat on the main scheme. Okay. And then next we're going to see her side scheme, which will come out in play also with the Shadows of the Past, the Assassin's Guild. It is the side scheme. The Assassin's Guild has sworn to kill Gambit and the rest of the Thieves Guild. It's going to get 4 threat added to it when it comes out. It's going to accelerate +1 each turn onto the main scheme, as long as this is out. And then is a forced response that after an assassin minion attacks and defeats a character, place 2 threat here. So it makes you not want to block with your allies as long as that's out. And then we see also these cards will get mixed into the deck whenever Shadows of the Past happens. The other 3, and here's one of them, Guild Assassin. 1 scheme, 2 attack, 2 hit points. It's got something special on its attack. Has quick strikes, that means it's going to attack immediately when it comes into play. Forced response, after Guild Assassin attacks and defeats a character, place 1 threat on a main scheme. So same thing as that, so that could be stacking up on each other. And I kind of assumed we'd have another Guild Assassin. And then we have a Treachery that'll get mixed in. Assassination attempt, Treachery, when revealed. Each assassin minion attacks you, even if you are in alter ego form. Okay, that's nasty. If there are no assassin minions in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for an assassin minion and reveal it. Which is going to make them attack, which is going to add more threat. So it really does get annoying. Alright, so it tells you right here, stop. That's everything you need. I know I could just wait to talk about that then, but then yeah, that'd be your deck. You would shuffle this up. You're ready to play. There's your character. This goes to the person setting up the game to be shuffled into the encounter deck. This goes off to the side, hoping Shadows of the Past doesn't come out. And you're good to go. So it lets you know that everything else after this is just basically expansion stuff. It's either going to be cards from other aspects. That way you can build into those other aspects. And it's usually cards that facilitate to that character to support them going to that other aspect. Which I'm assuming we're going to see some aggression. I can see him having a little bit of aggression here along with his justice. And then also behind here we're going to see that other modular set. And we'll go over that when we hit it. So let's see. So right off the bat here, also on the back of that, it just shows you the Gambit deck. That way, if you want to rebuild this or if something got mixed up, you can know all the cards that were in this deck and put it back together. Alright. Yep, as I figured, a new aggression card. I figured he might be aggression because I was like, man, Gambit can do a lot of damage if you read the comics and saw the 90s cartoon. So I was like, he could be aggression, but I think it's going to be justice. So here's a way you could build him, and it gives you a couple cards. That you'd have to have other cards and go buy expansions or go buy the base game to really build him into it. But it gives you at least a aggression card here. It is a 1-cost support. Max 1 per player. As a response, after an ally attacks and defeats a minion, exhaust War Room to remove 1 threat from a scheme. That can be good in an aggression deck because aggression usually don't have a lot of ways to deal with scheme or with threat off of a scheme. So, and I didn't mention it. The reason they give you 3 is because if you're new, the most you can have of a card, you can have up to 3 cards. It's a play set, up to 3 cards in your deck of each card. So that's the reason usually if you see 3, it means it's a new card or they're just giving you the full play set of it. Okay, we even have a new basic card here. X-Men Instruction, 0-cost event. Play only if your identity has a mutant trait. Alter Ego action, choose up to 2 X-Men allies in your discard pile and shuffle them into your deck. If X-Mansion is in play, draw 1 card. So just like that other one which lets you put your specials in, this is going to let you put allies back in. This actually facilitates more if you decide to push them into a leadership, or if you already have all the other expansions, you could add this to your leadership X-Men deck and be able to get some of your X-Men back. So 3 of those. Alright, that should be all with the new cards for the player cards. Now we're getting into the actual modular set. This is just like basically a side encounter set that mixes in with whatever scenario. So like I said, I'm going to do Sabretooth and the Brotherhood. Instead of the Brotherhood, I could mix in this and it'd be Sabretooth and the Exodus. Which I will say, when we do this, I typically, when they put these modular sets in, which I'm really glad they went back to this. I hope they continue to do this. I like having more of the modular sets. While it is nice to get new cards, I prefer the modular sets because it just gives you way more replayability because you can do all types of other combinations. Not that more cards aren't nice, but we already get a ton of new cards with every hero pack. So I like when they do these modular sets. But I will be putting this in there. Most likely I usually have it, because usually it's Sabretooth. When I do it with the hero pack only, it's usually Sabretooth with the Brotherhood, and then I put the Mystique one in also. But when they do these modular sets, I usually remove Mystique out and put Exodus, well, put whatever it is. In this case, it'll be Exodus. So let's talk about this, because we will be going against this with Sabretooth, and it lets you know what modular set you're going to get here. Exodus here, and it lets you know it's a 6-card modular set. But we got Exodus here. He is 1 scheme, 1 attack, 6 hit points. He has Retaliate 1, which means anytime he's attacked, whether you do damage to him or not, he's going to retaliate for 1 damage. He's also got Villainous, which means when he attacks or schemes, he gets to get boosted just like the villain does, because normally minions don't get a boost card. I'm not going to go into all that because this video is already going to be long enough. But when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Sonic Shield attachment and attach it to Exodus. So I'm assuming we're going to see some Sonic Shields in here. So it's just Exodus. That's who we're having to deal with, which makes sense if you know the comics, why he's in the Gambit. Herald of Avalon. This is side scheme. It gets 6 threat on it. It's going to make you have to, first player has to take an extra card, encounter card each villain phase. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme searches the encounter deck and discard pile for Exodus and reveals him. Exodus sees Magneto as the savior of mutant kind and serves as his herald. Okay. We see the Sonic Shield here that they mentioned. We got the Sonic Shield. It is an attachment. It's going to give the minion it attaches to +1 scheme, +1 attack. Attached to a minion. Otherwise, Sonic Shield gains Surge, which means if there was no minion into play, this card would gain Surge, which means you would do another card and make sure something happens. Forced Interrupt. When attached, minion would leave play. Instead, heal all damage from that minion and put it back into play and then discard this attachment. Really annoying. Really, really annoying. Definitely have to find ways to destroy attachments. Which I ain't gonna lie, I predicted that Gambit was gonna have a way to do that. I guessed wrong. But I was trying to think, I was like, I can see him blowing up attachments. That'd be kind of cool. But, alright. Acolyte Frenzy, Treachery. When revealed, each Acolyte minion engaged with you activates against you. If you are not engaged with an Acolyte minion, this card gains Surge. And then it's got a boost for if it's boosted. During the boosting a villainous thing, you are stunned and confused. And then we have 2 of those. So really, man, if you go get something where you're going to mix in 2 things, I'll consider doing Sabretooth and the Acolytes and then throw in Exodus also, because there's the Acolyte side encounter set. And that could be pretty dangerous. But I like to do Sabretooth and the Brotherhood because it was the starter set of Mutant Genesis. I normally do Rhino, but then they came out with Mutant Genesis. It's kind of the starter set. It fits the flavor of the X-Men a little bit more. Plus, I just got tired of fighting Rhino. I'm just so tired of fighting Rhino. But anyways, yeah. With that, this video is long enough, so I'm just going to go ahead and just mention, if you want to see where this goes, I know I brought it up several times in the video. I'm going to push it again here. I am going to sleeve this up. I am going to do a video where I take this deck unchanged, just sleeved up, and I'm going to put it against Sabretooth and the Brotherhood, and we're going to see how this deck fares straight out of the box. And figure out how it plays. And then we'll also do the same thing with the Rogue deck, which I just now unboxed, and see how that one fares. So check out those videos in a few days. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.